Hey there. I wanted to share with you a recent presentation that I did speaking about getting underrepresented minorities into the field of nephrology. I did this in part with one of my colleagues who is a nephrologist at Emory. His name is Jason Cobb. And so he did part of the presentation talking about the different organizations and programs that he has been involved with. And then I talked about Lyft. So this presentation was done here in October 20th, I think, actually. And we're virtual, of course. I actually did it in the airport in Belize, but I just wanted to share it with you. This presentation was done at the training program director meeting, which occurs annually through the Workforce and Training Committee through the American Society of Nephrology. So here we go. This is my cover slide, engaging underrepresented minorities in nephrology. Of course, you see, what I do. I am a nephrologist. FASN is Fellow of the American Society of Nephrology, special designation. When you have completed scholarly work or time teaching, then you can become inducted as a fellow of the American Society of Nephrology. Of course, I'm the chief of medical staff for a medical group in San Antonio, Texas. I'm also an attending nephrologist at Brooke Army Medical Center. So, if you don't know, Leaders Inspiring Fruitful Tomorrows, we also do business as Lyft. Leaders Inspiring Fruitful Tomorrows, Lyft, where our catchphrase is changing perspectives, impacting the world. And so, we just want to get into the minds of youth, let them see what they're able to achieve, and then we hope that they will go on to do big, great things that will impact the world. More specifically, Leaders Inspiring Fruitful Tomorrows is a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting minority, traditionally underserved, and first-generation youth interested in careers in medicine, business, and law through the provision of educational resources, financial literacy training, and mentoring opportunities. So let's take a moment with this slide here where we talk about what all it takes to become a nephrologist. And you could see that I've laid out the pathway here. So let's start. You first have to make the decision to go to college. So obtaining an undergraduate degree. Then after that, going to medical school. Then after medical school, there's a time period where you're an intern. And usually, that can be either associated with a specific residency program, or it could be separate if you're undecided. So that's why intern and resident are separated out. Then next you become a nephrology fellow, and then you move on to be a nephrologist. And there are programs already in place to capture folks in these different areas. So during your undergraduate time, there's something called the AAMC, Summer Health Professions Education Program. And then there are other organizations. This is not an all-inclusive list, but because I was speaking with Jason, or that I listed the programs in the timeline or where they fit into the timeline, based off of his prior presentation, or his presentation that came before mine. So there's a program called Super at Emory, and then there's KD SAP, which was a program started by a woman physician, and then there's opportunities to like have a one of these like, what would you say, branch programs at your own campus if you so choose. And of course, like I said, not all inclusive, but this is where they enter into the timeline. Now, as a medical student, the American Society of Nephrology has several programs: Kidney Treks, Kidney Maps, and then Kidney Stars, where Kidney Stars is somewhat of a grant program where those students are invited and attend Kidney Week, and they're assigned a mentor. This past Kidney Week, I was a mentor for a group of students and residents, and then we had a fellow mentor as well. And then Kidney Treks is actually a very cool program. I don't think they had it when I was a student or resident, but these students actually go for a summer intensive in renal physiology, and they're also assigned a mentor. It's actually a very great opportunity. And then Kidney Maps as well. So also the American College of Physicians, which is program for internal medicine, they have various student and resident resources that they have online. I'm not exactly sure if they have in-person programs or programs similar to those through the American Society of Nephrology, but it's a great way to get involved, because you do have to be an internist before, or you have to graduate internal medicine residency prior to becoming a fellow. Now, if you continue on and you decide that you are going to be a nephrologist or want to be a nephrologist, you remain, with programs through the American Society of Nephrology. And there's other, like NephSim. We have a whole host of people who are nephrologists with programs to get students involved. And then, of course, you become a nephrologist and, you maintain your ongoing learning and things like that. So these are, again, entities that are already in place. So now where LIFT comes in is where we need to get people involved, interested, well ahead of that time when you're in college. So our goal is to identify youth who first are just interested in getting out of their situation, whatever that may be, or moving forward in their situation and going to college. And so we want to interact as professionals with students. It could be as early as elementary school, middle school, and high school are the targeted time frames, and then seeing them through their undergraduate degree to their undergraduate degree, and hopefully inspiring them to want to go into medicine and or business and law. Obviously, I am biased and I am really the push for the medicine piece of that, but ultimately the first step is getting through college. And so it takes a lot of resources and information for both the student and the family who supports that student, especially if this is a first generation student. I was a first generation medical school, but my siblings preceded me, my siblings preceded me and were college graduates. So we provide educational resources to include information and training on financial literacy, mere interaction with professionals, and mentoring opportunities. And we try to be pretty innovative with that. Not just the one-on-one, let's sit down and let's talk, or let me tell you about what it's like to be a physician. This past summer, we kind of went forth with that challenge of being a little bit innovative. And we had a book club, and at the book club, which were virtual, which actually is great because it expands our reach, but we did have a professional at each one of the book clubs, and we made it, short. We wanted it to be engaging. We wanted to have the students be able to ask their questions and see people of color also who are professionals and hear their stories, and then have the opportunity to ask them questions. So I think that went well, and we're going to continue to do that. So now let's just share what we've done. So many pictures here. If you look in the top left, this was several years back. We partnered with an organization, with one of my friends who I actually went to high school with. She had a summit at Sonoma State in California, and we participated. We had a booth or a little table where we gave away swag and talked with kids and gave them our information, and we did a panel discussion talking about why college is worth it. So that was really cool. So those are the top two pictures. If you look on the far right, that is from our summer book club this past summer. And during the book club, we read Children of Blood and Bone. This is a book by a Nigerian author, and really a great book. A lot of pages, like it's almost 600 pages long. So we did that book club in 6 sessions. Then just below that picture is the panel discussion from the summit in Sonoma, and that went very well. We had a couple physicians on the panel, a friend who's in business, and he actually is an author of a book. Then who was the third? We had an educator on the panel, and then a good friend who is in finance. So like medical finance is where he was working previously, but he was the moderator for the panel discussion. It went very well. Then just below that, you'll see 2 pictures. So we started doing a box we call, it escapes my mind. Oh my gosh. So we have a box that's filled with like school supplies or note-taking supplies or things for students, specifically in college, but we can kind of curate the box, and we call the box the village box, so Lift Village Box, kind of going off of it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a village to support also a student, and so we started sending these boxes out. We'd love to have people donate so that we can send out more boxes. Our hope is to sponsor a student, or sponsor many students, not a student, but sponsor those students through giving boxes, sending them boxes with supplies during their time in college. In the middle, you see Back to School Vision Board. We kind of did this after book club in preparation for the new year. Again, we wanted to do this one in person. However, logistically, and because COVID was kind of ramping up again right before school started, and so instead we just made pre-made like little kits, and then we handed them out to people in our community. And we did some at home with the kids also. Now over next to that, to the left, you see one of the village boxes, and you see the logo for our podcast. So we have a podcast called Dream Lab Podcast, and we've been working on that, interviews, tips, just conversation about goals, college dreams, things along the vein of what we're trying to do in the community. And then the bottom left, this is actually the slide that my friend and colleague, Dr. Liebeck, briefed from when she was one of the speakers at one of our book club sessions. So she is an Air Force Academy graduate, and you could see her at the top. I think that's with her soccer team, and then at the bottom, I think she parachuted during her time, and then I think her commissioning photo is down on the bottom right, and that's her just above that. So yeah, we allowed them to either make slides or just talk, and I thought it was great. Excuse me. It was a great time, and a great sharing of information. Lastly, so I kind of added this slide because, obviously, or maybe not obviously, but running a nonprofit takes a lot of work. It's a lot of moving pieces. I mean, just to maintain your status as a 501(c)(3), I mean, that takes a lot of work and paperwork annually. And so obviously I don't expect that people would, go out and independently start a nonprofit, but there's other ways for like my colleagues, and then for people who are just looking to like inspire youth to do more, be better than where they are. There are other opportunities. So some other things that I do is I teach at Uniform Services University. Here I am, you see on the top left image is I did a session with about 21 students. So they were like 3 sessions, 7 students each, and it was their renal module. So we talked about acute kidney injury. We talked about we talked about acid-base physiology and did some questions. So that's how I interact with Uniform Services University, which is the military medical school. And then I also do or have started to do some talking and things and through PCOM, which is the medical school that I went to, Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine, the Georgia campus. And so to the far right, you see I was part of a panel of women physicians, and that was a great opportunity to give back. And the flyer for that is there. But I've also done some like mentoring things where I recently did some mock interviews with 2 students who are interested or who are going into internal medicine, and moderated for discussion. So just other things, getting involved on social media, interacting with people, reaching out with people who want to go to medical school. I speak to a lot of my friends' children just to see, talk about either being in the military scholarship, or being in medicine. And I've also assisted with personal statements and CVs and all this kind of stuff. So, this is where we are, and this is, where we're trying to, where we're trying to be and fit in this space is just inspiring. This is how we do it, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. So, hang in there with us. We are moving in the right direction, and we thank you for supporting us. And, thanks for listening. Bye.